Greetings, and blessings abundantly, everybody. Welcome back to the Abundance Universe podcast. Here today with another exciting episode where we're going to talk all things real estate. I'm here with entrepreneur, investor, and founder of ePlanet Mortgage, my good friend, Dana Jones. Dana, welcome to Abundance Universe.
Bijan, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, this is exciting. I'm really grateful that we have been able to connect so many times in real life, and every time that we connect is super valuable, super real. I feel like one of my cousins or something. It's one of those kind of vibes. I know everybody knows what I'm talking about when you meet somebody that's like that. But also we connect at high level entrepreneur events every time that we're connecting, whether it's a real estate event or a business event or marketing event. We met at the Aspire conference recently, a couple weeks ago, had a great conversation there. And there were great speakers like Pace Morby, and who actually invited us out there, and just so many other great folks. Really want to talk about the power of like community, like as we kind of just get started. You and I met through the Sub 2 community, through Pace Morby and his community of real estate investors. But I want to kind of start with the power of community, and how has that helped you kind of get to where you are, and then we can just kind of get into your story. As as much as we can, I would love to learn more about kind of where you started and how you got into real estate. But let's start talking about like the Sub 2 community and kind of how you got into the Sub 2 community, because that's where we actually met. That's where this whole
Yeah,
relationship started.
nah, that's what's up, man. Well, I would say the Sub-2 community is amazing. So you asked about the power of community. To me, community is like the cheat code. So coming up, I come from Baltimore, but I live in Los Angeles, California now. So over there, it's like you kind of like do things on your own. Say I do real estate investing, I do it. And then sometimes people don't kind of like share knowledge and share information. But when you're in a community, it's almost like, if I wanted to fix and flip 5 houses a year, you're a part of that community instead of it being 5 houses and go anywhere from like 15 to 20. So the community is like a great resource for you, pretty much. So it's like iron sharpen iron. So you giving somebody value, they're giving you value, and it's actually taking you to the end result a little faster.
That's right.
Mhm.
And I love how you mentioned that there's, certain areas and certain industries, there's definitely gatekeepers. It's harder to get information or details on how to create success or how to expedite that success and get further. So having people that actually care about giving back, paying it forward, helping other people achieve success, especially in the real estate industry, where you got to have good information and good mentorship to actually make it work, that's super key. So I'm grateful that you shared that. And what was it that brought you to Pace Morby in the Sub 2 community?
Man, I would say pretty much, I would just say God, because everything in life happens for a reason and everything is about timing. So pretty much, I own my mortgage company, so I'm always like, was thinking of mortgage. So I would try to get my son to join Sub 2. I would actually try to get my cousin to get a lot of people to say, hey man, look, join this thing Sub 2. I heard it's good. You can start wholesaling, and then I can do the mortgage and I also can be the end buyer and I can buy it. So everybody, I can buy the property. So everybody who I was trying to get to join Sub 2, they was like, okay, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it. So they was kind of like dragging their feet. And then one day I just woke up, I'm like, you know what? Let me just try it out and let me join it. And I'm glad, and I say it was God, because sometimes what you try to have other people do is not meant for them, it's meant for you. So being as though I signed up for the Sub 2 program, it's like I met so many valuable partners in there. And also I had great relationships. So it's almost not even a relationship or a friendship. It's like family members pretty much, because once you guys meet one time, you meet twice, and then you guys just start connecting in so many different ways. So for me, I'm just glad that I joined it, because it was something I could say, I can't say I joined it by accident, but it wasn't meant for me. It was for me to give to others because I'm a go-giver. I'm always giving, I'm always here to help other people out. So I'm like, okay, let me make sure that you guys are okay. But God was like, hold up. Let me put you in here so you can have more resources and you can actually grow and go where you need to go faster. So then once people see that you're successful in Sub 2, then that'd be a way that they can actually join Sub 2. You can actually mentor them in various different ways as well. So that's like a little
Exactly.
short story of how I got into it.
I love that. I love that. There's some great points that you made there. First of all, God's time is always right on time. And we may not always understand it, but when something or an experience or opportunity comes into our life, and we take advantage of it. It's always at the perfect time and when we're ready, and then also what's for you is not for everybody else.
Yeah.
The vision and the mission and the message that God puts in your heart, that's your purpose. That's part of your path and your journey. And nobody else is going to understand it the way that you do. Even the people closest to you, the people you love the most, they're still, it's not the vision that God put in them. God put that vision in you. God put that opportunity or that desire, that passion and purpose within you. So it's very important for everybody listening to really take note of that point, is that when you feel the urge and excitement around something, before you decide to share it with people, go pursue it yourself and just go all in, knowing that you're going to do what you feel called to do, regardless of anybody else's approval, involvement, or collaboration, because you don't need it if God put that in you and on you to really go and manifest. So that's a great point. I'm glad that you mentioned that.
No, no,
All
I
right.
think Shay, yeah, because it do make a lot of sense because for me, I kind of like I feel as though I'm like a quiet guy, I'm a chill guy, but I think it was for me to join it because everybody's saying I'm like a super networker. So they say, Dana, whenever you come around, it's like I kind of go in rooms and like chill, but I just start meeting this person, meeting that person, meeting this person. So it's like start connecting all the dots. So like you said, God was like, no, no, my son, I need you to go there. So that way right there, you can actually be a leader and grow from there. You can actually bring others by them seeing the works that you're doing pretty much.
I love that. And that's it. It's like we gotta lead by example. And to your point, it takes courage. You too, when you feel that calling, when you feel God shine that light on you and you feel that spirit really just pull you in a direction. Sometimes you don't know why, sometimes you don't know how, but this is the direction, the destination I need to be headed towards. It takes courage, it takes bravery, and we gotta exercise that as well. So Dana, tell me this. What is your journey getting into real estate and eventually, building your own mortgage company, which you have, ePlanet Mortgage, which is very successful and doing great things, helping provide opportunities for people and create freedom for other people. What was let's talk about maybe your first understanding and interest and desire to be in real estate and maybe your first deal. How did it get started? And then, how did you get to the point where you got your own mortgage company?
Okay. Well, I actually got into real estate because I had like a car background. So when I was living in Baltimore, I had a couple car dealerships and I would sign people up to get their dealer license. So with me, I was selling the cars. It was real good. So making like a lot of money. So then one day, I think the cars started slowing up a little bit. So then a buddy of mine, he was actually doing like fix and flips. He was in the real estate industry. So he was like, man, why don't you get into real estate? So I was like, oh, it does sound cool. He said, yo, it's like the same thing like cars. So then I got into a property, I bought it cash, I renovated it. That was like a freaking nightmare because it's like I was kind of like I was figuring it out. Like I said, it wasn't a mentorship program back then. So I was figuring it out as I was going through. But long story short, I was still selling cars and I was buying houses. I was renovating and selling them. So the cars was my everyday money and the real estate was like my savings. So once I fix a property up, I sell that, I would get more cars. So I would live off the cars every day, sell the houses, that'd be my savings. And then one day I realized like one thing about real estate, whether a person is homeless, they're renting, or they actually buying a house, you still got to have a house to live in. So it's a necessity. A car was a necessity as well because you got to drive, but the house was like more of a necessity. It was like the biggest asset that a person can get. And it wasn't like the everyday wear and tear that the cars was doing. So that's how I kind of got into the real estate industry. Like I said, did my first one. I think I got it for like 60,000. Might have put like a good like 50 in it and wind up selling it for like 185,000 or something like that. And then I was like, yo, hold up. This some good money. I'm on to something.
Yeah, that math is mathing. That's
Yeah,
some
yeah,
that's some
yeah.
good math right there.
Yeah. I just got to try to find a system for as I continue to do this, that the people don't kind of like run all over the place. And because, like I said, the first one was like a nightmare. But the one thing about it is sometimes in life you have to go through the hard stuff first to see if it's for you. So, I mean, it didn't discourage, I kind of probably could have made a little bit more, but it's almost like, I kind of learned lessons out of it. So a lot of times it's not always about the dollar amount that you make. It's all about sometimes you get the lesson that will actually help you out in the future.
That's good. What were some of the key lessons you learned from that first deal? Maybe a couple good ones and a couple things people to learn from, to
Yeah,
not
yeah. So the first deal, I got some guys like from like Home Depot, like the guys be standing outside of Home Depot. So they came,
right.
I told them what they needed to do, but it's like one person would be in the kitchen, then the other person like upstairs, and the other person here. So they would be in there like, they was day laborers. So I was paying them like for like a daily rate. So they would be in there like, like all day, like they working. But then when they leave, I'm like, yo, hold up. Ain't nothing get done. So then they come back, do the same thing. I'm like, hold up, hold up. Let me kind of put a grips on this and just say, let me write down something to say, hey, you guys got to do this first. Let me see this done. Then go to the next thing, then go to the next thing, then go to the next thing.
Mm,
It's almost like kind of like putting like some systems and process in order for it to kind of like before you can know what's going on and you can actually know that you won't go over your budget. Because when I first got into it, I had a budget in my mind, but I didn't have a budget written down on pen and paper. So it's like if you have it in your mind, you don't have it written down. It's like how can you get to the budget that only you know pretty much.
right. Right. You got to be able to show it to people and just lay it out. And also that it provides so much clarity having for you and for the workers to say, let's do
Mhm.
one area at a time. And it seems like that's something that seems like so simple, but could be easily overlooked because that's not something I would initially think about in terms of just having a system for how they work on the house. Like it
Mhm.
makes no sense to have a whole team spread out unless that's like their specialty, especially if you don't see things getting accomplished. So like let's build out the kitchen or the bathrooms and then do the plumbing and do things stage by stage. That's a good piece of information. What's another thing that you learned that maybe you feel like it created a win, for you and something that you did that set you up for success?
That like I say, I was doing it kind of like on my own. My buddy introduced me to it, but one thing that created a win was he was doing it before me. So I actually was like, "Yo, hold up, I need some help." So I guess that was like the first little piece of getting the mentor. So he actually came in and he actually coached me and he showed me how to do it. So he, on the next one, we're gonna get what we call a scope of work. So you're actually gonna have like a scope of work with the line item for like each for line item for like what the budget is on each thing on each part of the project. So once you do it like that, then you'll pretty much stay within line.
Right. So having a mentor, just being able to give you some game and help show the way. That's another, shout out to Pace Morby. He's a great real estate investor and teacher and community builder. And not only does he give away a lot of gems of information and free education, but he also fostered a community of other people that share information and help other people through mentorship. So that's a
Mm.
major key. All right, so did a similar thing happen when it came to starting your real estate company? You're doing deals, you're in the real estate game, but what was the revelation that happened, or was there a mentor or somebody that came into your life that influenced you to go ahead and start E-Plan and Mortgage?
Now, mortgage, I mean, like a lot of times I say my mentor is God, so I just like listen to what the Lord tells me. So
Amen.
realized like my wife now, Erica, she was my girlfriend at the moment. So I was the investor doing fix and flip, and she was my realtor. So she's my realtor looking for properties. And I was like, yo, every time we do a deal, you got to go to the bank to either get a hard money loan or you got to go to the bank to do this. I said, why don't we just open up a mortgage company? And she thought I was crazy. And like I say, that was like 7 years ago. And then we put the paperwork in and then we opened E-Plan and Mortgage. So after being open for like a year, we actually got like what we call like a warehouse line. So with that warehouse line, we're direct lenders in California, Maryland, Georgia, Texas, and Florida. So we tell people that we can do those loans in 15 days, but we pretty much get them done in 12 days. We still do the investment property loans. We do them in like all states except for like North Dakota and South Dakota. So it just was pretty much just looking at the industry, seeing what the gap was in that industry. Because I was like, once again, this is a necessity. You have to either raise the funds or you have to like kind of go to a bank to get it. So I was like, hey, let's just open up this mortgage company. That's how E-Plan and Mortgage came about.
That's cool. And you followed the calling, you followed that instinct. What are the steps to start your own mortgage company? Like what kind of capital was involved? I'm sure it's more than just starting up an LLC.
Mhm.
Did you have to have an office, or could you start this up just with a little bit of capital? Do you get a loan? Like what's the process, and how much do you need to even be able to give somebody a loan? Like how does the process work, especially when it comes to working with banks and things like that? Just something
Yeah.
not a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, so pretty much for one, you have to be like a loan originator that has to been having a license for like at least 3 years. So that's what my wife had. She had her loan originator license maybe for like 5 years. So you have to have that for like at least 3 years. Then for any loan originators, you have to go through school. You have to go take classes. You have to go to school, and then they put you on a test. I think it's like 20 hours. Yeah, it's like 20 hours that you take. You take the test, they do like a criminal background check, like a federal background check to make sure because you're going to be dealing with people's assets and their finances. So then once you do that, you have to, you know, get your LLC. You have to get the office because you do have to have like an office that people are not going to be coming in, but at least you can't do it out of your home because you only giving nobody like I live in LA. You don't want to give nobody like your bank statements and stuff like that with a couple of $1 million in there. And they're like, hold up, you're just doing it out the basement of your own house, of your house. So you have to actually have an office. Yeah, you have to have an office. You gotta they actually vet you to make sure that you at least have like $150,000 like liquid in the banks because they want to know that if any loans get called or anything like that, that you at least have some sort of assets to back it up with. And then
Okay.
from there, you just kind of like start signing up with other banks that you actually want to sell to on the secondary market or any banks that you want to broker to when you're doing like the hard money deals. So it's all about just like connecting the dots pretty much. So it's like a
Okay.
it's like a big checklist and you just go down like each thing and say, okay, I did this, I did that, okay. And let's keep on just chopping it down. So it might start off with 20 items and then and then a couple of weeks you had 10 and then in no time you had two and then you had one and then it's like, just be patient and just wait for the license to come through.
That's very interesting. Could you maybe elaborate on that process when it comes to once you have the company set up, you have your address and everything established? What is the process of being able to partner with a bank or work with a bank? Like you say you have your 150 or $200,000 in reserves, right, of your own capital. What is the process to partner with a bank? How does that work? And is that you mentioned like a time or application process of getting
Mhm.
a license or something. Could you elaborate a little bit more on how that works?
So on some of the big banks, like I say, like the secondary markets, is like soon as you get so you'll have a list that you can call a partner with some of the banks, but actually, as soon as you get your license, you have what we call like an AE, account executive. So from some of these big banks, they'd be calling you like crazy, like, hey, I see you got your license. You know, we do this particular thing. We do fix and flip. We do the fix and flip. We do DSCR. We can actually do like the owner occupied. Like we have like one big company who we actually sell a lot of our loans to called UWM. So with UWM, for instance, once we first opened, you know, their AE called us like a lot of times, but it's like, you know, they told us that, hey, the number one thing is speed. We can do speed and we can communicate with you real good. So we gave them a try. And then from there, it's like, you know, it made us look like rock stars pretty much. So that's what it is. So it's like once you get that license, I don't know if your information is out on the registry or something like that. So you thinking I'm gonna call 100 people, but instead of you calling 100, you might call 10 people to sign up with, but then 100 people will call you because everybody knows in the banking industry, like you know, like real estate investing, the mortgage in the banking industry, the only way to really make money is to let your money make money for you. So your money has to always be moving. Especially right now, we're in an inflationary time where those things are getting super duper high. So it's like if your money is just sitting still in the bank, then you're actually losing. So you have to invest it, and that's what the big mortgage companies do. That's what the big lenders do. That's what a Chase does. That's what a JP that's what a Wells Fargo does. They lend money out so the money can keep moving, so that way everybody can win.
Right. Okay, so what are some things that somebody could do to have a good relationship or a good chance of getting approved? Like, are there any things that you do to set yourself apart when you want to work with a new bank or say you want to get a new line of credit of $1 million to be able to do some more deals and provide more loans? Is there anything somebody could do to raise their chances of a bank accepting their application and getting the approval or expediting the approval?
So you asking from a client standpoint or from opening a company standpoint?
After your company's open and
Mhm.
you say, I'm working with JP Morgan Chase already, but I want Bank of America and I want to get 4 times as much money from Bank of America as I've
Mhm.
previously gotten from JP Morgan Chase. Maybe JP Morgan Chase gave me 250. I want 1 million from Bank of America. Is there anything that I need to do to raise my likelihood of Bank of America approving me for that million as a mortgage company owner?
Well, actually, so actually, even it's funny. So when you go to this part of it, you go to like a warehouse lender. So it's not really like a Bank of America or a JP Morgan Chase. It's like other like warehouse lenders because sometimes if you're a lender and Chase is a lender and Wells Fargo is a lender, they're not going to want to kind of lend you money to be competition. So you go to like what you call like a warehouse lender. You fill out the application, they look at your personal credit. they look at your assets, or they look at your liquid assets. They look at your liquid assets, and they also look at what you own as well. And then they put you through like a little strenuous program. And then you might start off with like a $10 million credit line. And then once you're doing deals, and then you're doing deals, you're selling them pretty fast, and the 10 million will go up to like 15 million. Then the constantly just go up like more and more pretty much. So they see that, it's always good to say that what you can do on paper, but that you're actually doing the deals and doing the volume, then it's like, okay, let's back you a little bit more. So that's called the warehouse lender. So if you actually wanted to go that route, you'd be a correspondent lender. You would just Google like warehouse lenders and you see which ones are like in your area.
Okay. That's a
Mhm.
good piece of information right there. The warehouse lender and building relationships with warehouse lenders. It's not necessarily about individual bank relationships. All those are great for, especially for your personal or business credit.
Yeah.
When it comes to building credit cards, having relationships with those big top tier banks, the Chase, Bank of America. But with this particular situation, when it comes to having a mortgage company, you want to look at warehouse lenders for being able to grow your business and scale in that way. That's really great. And then what about the compliance? What kind of compliance or regulations or like paperwork stuff is necessary for you as a mortgage company owner and some of the things you have to do just to make the business run every year?
You pretty much just outsource it to hire like a secondary compliance company. So you
Hmm.
have a compliance company, you have them come in and check your books and all that type of stuff. So you kind of like auditing yourself. So if you ever
Yeah,
want to do a big audit, you always want to know that you're well prepared. So you outsource a compliance company to come in and let them do everything, and then they keep you on your P's and Q's pretty much because you figure if you pass in an audit with them, then if any auditor comes through, then you'll be okay right there in that sector.
that's great. That's a
Mhm.
great piece of information. Didn't even know that existed. So it's like, okay, you have people out there to help you stay, accountable. That's really awesome. There's organizations to help with that. That's great. So what would you say now are some of the goals and what does the future look like for ePlanet Mortgage?
So for E-Plan Mortgage, right now we have like a few loan officers. So we're actually just looking to scale and just hire more loan officers. So like I said, right now we're direct lenders in California, Maryland, Georgia, Texas, and Florida. I say we wrote it down by 2025, we're supposed to be in like five more states. So to pretty much just expand our reach. And then right now I'm a part of like a lot of like real estate communities. So being as though I'm a part of those communities, I do like a lot of DSCR loans and fix and flip loans. So I actually need more loan officers and more help to actually take on the load because when I'm going to these events, it's like I'm doing like a lot of deals and I really don't do them. Like my title says LO, which loan officer, but I'm really like the marketing guy. I like kind of send the deals back and let the loan officers do that so the business can actually just run on its own.
That's great. All right.
Mhm.
So anybody out there that's in the industry, in the real estate and loan industry, reach out to Dana, reach out to ePlanet if
Yeah.
you're interested. And you have a number of states that they operate in, so that's really awesome. And something that I'm always interested in is say somebody wants to work with you and get a mortgage, what are the things that they absolutely have to have in order? Say it's somebody wanting to get their first property. Let's just say it's a single family home in
Okay.
California. If somebody's wanting to get a single family home in California and it's their first property, what do they need to have in order when they come to you to be able to get approved for a loan with ePlanet?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing. We're like an out of the box, what we call like an out of the box lender. So typically or traditionally, you would have to go conventional, and conventional is anywhere from 3 to 5% down. So you would have anywhere from like 3 to 5% down on a home. So let's say, for instance, the house is 500,000. You had to have 25%, 5% down, which is 25,000 to put down for that. But when I say we're an out of the box lender, over here in California, it's like a lot of entrepreneurs here. So what we can do, like I say, like the other big banks don't do, like JP Morgan, Chase, and Wells Fargo, they don't do this, what we call like a 12-month bank statement program. So say for instance, you're an entrepreneur, and then you might have made like $500,000 off of taxes. And you don't want Uncle Sam to take all of your money and all that type of stuff. So sometimes like a lot of these entrepreneurs, when you're starting off, you write your income off. So we really don't go off of your tax returns. We actually go off your 12-month bank statements. So we look at what you deposited into your bank account like each month, and then we divide that by 12. So we look at all 12 statements. We divide that by 12. We give you like 75% credit of that because it's a business. So you have to at least have 25% expense ratio to run the business. So we just do that for you right there. But instead of you putting anywhere from 3 to 5% down, when you're a self-employed person to write your income off, you have to put down 10%. But then some people, they would used to say, man, 10% I have to put down more. But the way I explain it to them is like, you're putting down more, but that means you have more equity into the home.
Right.
So that's the first thing I would explain to them. So the first step would be, are you self-employed and you write your income off, or are you a W-2 worker? So then from there, then I would know how to base the conversation. I know which way to guide and direct.
Right. So based on your employment situation, where your income's coming from, there are options for you either way,
Mhm.
but you just kind of need to have that income statement in place. And if it's now, say somebody's a W-2 employee, is it still 12 months of W-2 income that you're looking for to approve someone, or is it longer, or how much would they need to come with to get approved for a loan with you, a
No,
W-2
no.
worker?
Okay, so if you're a W-2 worker, no, we don't really need, we just need your last 2 month bank statements, but we look at your
Oh,
tax returns, we look at your 2 year W-2. So we look at your
okay.
income right there. So then what we go off of, what we call like a DTI. So it's called a debt to income ratio. So if you're a W-2 worker, and just say for instance, you're making $6,000 a month, or just say like, yeah, things going up. So just say you're making $10,000 a month. Say you're making $10,000 a month. What we go by is a 50% DTI. When I say that, that means that all your bills, including your mortgage, can exceed $5,000, can exceed 50% of your income. So then, we go off of, we don't look at your credit cards or nothing like that. We just pretty much go off of your car payment, any student loans or something that you may have. So just say, for instance, your car payment is like $500, you have $500 in student loan payments. That's $1,000. Then it's like, we know once we're getting you pre-approved that we have to, your mortgage can't be no more, with your tax insurance can't be no more than $4,000. So we kind of like work backwards. So we know your mortgage and your tax insurance can't be no more than $4,000. We go ahead and get you approved for that, and then we get you like a pre-approval letter. So yeah, and we just kind of like walk you through like the entire program. I mean, the entire process, pretty much.
That's great.
Mhm.
And when somebody gets a pre-approval letter, then what do they do with that? And then how much time will they have to with that pre-approval letter to find the property?
Yeah, well, we give them a pre-approval letter. It's good for 60 days, but right now with the market is being so fast, you don't even really want to wait 60 days to get a property. And then the thing about us with our approval letters, we always write that because we pre-underwrite the file. So we do a guaranteed 15-day closing. So we say we can get you closed from not living in a house to you laying your head in that bed in 15 days. And we say every day that we don't do it, then we'll pay the seller $200 a day for us not meeting what we said we was going to do. And we've never paid the seller $200. And in fact, it seems like right now we're closing loans in anywhere from like 11 to like 12 days. So what
Wow.
we do is we pretty much, like I said, we pre-underwrite the file. So we get all your information ahead of time. So we get your tax returns. Like I said, if you have student loan payments, we get that paperwork. We have our processors, they get all the paperwork that we need ahead of time, because we send it out in one file right there. And then we have like a portal that you just upload everything to. You can upload it to the portal from your phone, from your computer, just anywhere. And that way right there, we don't want to keep asking you for like a lot of things. We let you know that the first 5 or 10 things we need all at one time. And then once we do that, we just submit a complete file, which is a complete packet.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That's cool. Wow, that's some great information. And I'm glad that you kind of broke it down, because a lot of people think that the process of getting pre-approved or getting a mortgage and owning their own property is super complicated, but it's really not. And a lot of folks that are renting could actually be living in a property that they own for the same price or less than they're paying for rent at an apartment building. So just keep that in mind and speak to somebody like Dana, or call ePlanet Mortgage and just have them run the numbers for you. See if you could get pre-approved and own your own property, because there's so much value in owning where you live, and maybe even being able to own a multifamily property where you can own where other people live and become a landlord. There's a lot of freedom in that as well, but it starts with knowing where you stand and knowing the numbers, understanding your income, your credit situation, what you can get approved for, and working with a great lender and mortgage broker like ePlanet. You'll be able to get that information and set yourself up for success. You can make some decisions to progress your life and move forward. But highly encourage everybody to own where you live and own where somebody else lives too, if you can. You may be able to do it for less money than you're paying for rent. So look into that.
Man, look, and I'm gonna tell you, so it's almost like as you was talking, because I'm always like a good listener, like to listen. When you said multifamily, that's what we call like an FHA hack. So you actually can get like a multifamily, put 5% down, and then rent out the other three units. So it's almost like you'll be living for free. So not only would you be living for free, but a place like Los Angeles and Southern California, if you was to get a 4 unit for like, let's say maybe like $1 million, let's use round numbers, like for like $1 million, and you put down like 5%, which is like 50,000. Not only would you rent out the other three units and they actually be paying your mortgage, so you'd be living for free, but within like a year, that property would go from anywhere from like $1 million to like 1.2, and then after the years, it go from 1.2 to 1.5, and then give it like 2, 3 years down the road, you can actually do what we call a cash out refinance, and you can actually utilize that to go and buy another investment property. So it's almost like you put the money up. So it's almost like you lent yourself the money. So, you put the 5% down for house hacking to rent out the other three units. You allow for the property to appreciate. You lived for free, and then you took your money out and went on and invested and got another property. So then, yeah, that's man, whew, yeah, that's another thing that what me and my partner do. We actually teach people in house hacking pretty much, because that's the way and how you can actually be like an investor. You can go from homeowner to investor and actually invest in yourself.
Right. That's an awesome, awesome play. Encourage everybody to run that play and understand the idea of potentially being able to eliminate your living expense and what that does for you, not just by freeing up extra income, but freeing up the thought space and the freedom and the mental clarity, allowing for more abundance to create and do more of what you enjoy and love, because you just know that that mortgage is covered every month and you don't actually have to come up with that yourself. Your tenants are coming up with that. And now you have the time to create new things and think and grow because you don't have to think, how am I going to come up with next month's rent? When you
Yeah,
have a multifamily unit and you own it and other people are paying down the mortgage, that allows you to use your income just to pay your utilities, have more money for food. Maybe you can eat healthier, have more time to work out, get a gym membership. There's all kind of things that open up once that living expense is covered by tenants. So consider that because right now, if you're renting or you live in an apartment, you're allowing your landlord to have more time freedom by paying that rent every month. And you could be putting that back into your pocket and actually growing your wealth and your assets as an owner of property. So consider that. Call Dana, give him a call, see what you can get pre-approved for.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna tell you another good thing about real estate investing, because remember at the beginning we started talking, I told you how I got into real estate when I was living in Baltimore. But fast forwarded, I've been living in Los Angeles, California for 12 years. And I was able to come here. I came to the All-Star game in 2011. And I was like, man, I love it there living over here. So then I came back like another 3 months after that. Then I came back 2 months after that and I just stayed. But you know how I was able to do that? I had a rental portfolio back in Baltimore. So I was able to come out here in Los Angeles, didn't know anybody, and find my way. But my rental income that I had from my rental properties in Baltimore, that's what secured me and allowed me to come here to to a place where I didn't know. So real estate investing is everything, because real estate, that's one thing that's going to outlive you, is going to outlive me, and it's going to always be here like forever. Even if you burn it down, through insurance or something like that, it's still going to get built back up pretty much. So yeah,
That's
you have to
that.
think about investing. That's what we do at E-Plan and Mortgage. We actually show you, we actually get you into there as a homeowner, but we have a real estate investing background. So as you're a homeowner, then we'll show you how you can actually let that house be your bank. Like for instance, I own a couple of properties in California, but what I do is like what I told you guys, I do a cash out refinance and I buy more properties back in Baltimore, and I let those properties as cash flow, and I just do it like monopoly. So that's what we do. So that's another little tidbit that we'll do at E-Plan and Mortgage. We actually help you how to be financially free through investing in real estate.
That's awesome. That is the name of the game. Think about that. Real estate has always, throughout history, been the number one vehicle for multimillionaires and billionaires to create wealth and exponentially just multiply the wealth through, as Dana mentioned, having a property that can appreciate, right? Having equity and understanding that when you take care of a property and it's in a good location, you got good tenants, the value goes up. and the values of the other properties in the area start to go up, that thing's going to appreciate and be worth more in less time. But the longer you hold a property, the more it appreciates. So just consider that. And, really want to drive home. I always love teaching things that can help build wealth and create freedom, because the freedom is what's going to allow you to really live a life in purpose, on purpose, and have the time to spend with yourself to learn, what is it that I am here to do? What is my why? What is my reason for being, my ikigai? And how can I live a life that allows me to express that and enjoy every moment? When you can have a vehicle there for you that's an asset that creates wealth and also puts a roof over your head and eliminates the worry of that expense while providing additional income, or cash flow as we call it,
Yeah.
that freedom is there, and you can really enjoy life and like explore and just try things, and really have more fun. So want to make sure that everybody, if you're not already in real estate, you consider getting into real estate investing, and also um, make sure that you use it as a tool and understand the value of it. And sooner is better, right? The sooner
Yeah.
you can get in, the better. So, Dana, something else I want to talk to you about is mindset, just for a moment. I want to talk about the things that you do when no one else is watching, that help you get the confidence and that help you get the inspiration and the guidance that you need to create more success. What are some things that you do that really have help add to the abundance mentality for you? And speaking of that, what is abundance to you? What does abundance mean to you? What does it mean to have an abundance mentality?
Abundance and abundance mentality is something that's like kind of, I believe, is like bigger than you. So it's like when you give in and always trying to help others. So one thing about me, I'm always helping others win. And then as I'm always pushing them to purpose and actually want to see them win and want them to do good. The Lord always blesses me and always makes sure that I'm okay. So I take it as back as, when I was a little kid, I had my first baby when I was like 17. And then from there, I just had like five. Like every year I had five kids. But I knew as a little kid, I always liked nice things. So I was like, the more that I take care of my kids, I make sure my kids are okay, give them everything that they want, then the more that the Lord is going to bless me. So in abundance is like, yeah, you just got to always, you can't be a taker. Like I realize when you be around people that's always busting up for me and always trying to take, they go up and down, up and down, up and down. But when you are giving, you're always giving and always helping. The Lord is always going to bless you because He always know what you're going to do with the blessing. So you're going to actually take them, you're going to multiply them, you're going to sow seed within good ground. So that's what abundance is. Abundance is bringing others up, pretty much.
I love that. I love that. And that's the whole mentality behind We Uplift the World. That's the abundance mentality behind my education company, We Uplift the World, is just, let's come together and give all the knowledge and information we have and provide mentorship and inspiration for other people to do what they got to do, because that's going to make the world better for everybody. The more creative things we have, the more cool real estate, the more cool art, the more great music, more great food, right? When everybody's living in their purpose, we get more abundance of everything good. And
Yeah.
it's completely aligned. I'm very grateful for that. And then, Dana, what are some things that you do to keep your mind abundant? What are some of your habits? Do you have a morning routine, or we talked about God as being a strong force and source for both of us, but what are some things that you do habitually to create, an abundance mentality and get your mindset in the right place to create success?
Yeah, well, I would say I wake up in the morning and meditate, and then, I pray, I speak to the Lord, I ask Him just to lead and guide me. And then one thing I always say too, because a lot of people, they chasing wealth, but I always say you got to be well balanced spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. So I always like go through my day to try to just reach those four things right there. So, like I said, I meditate, speak to the Lord, and say, just lead me here, lead me there, tell me what to put on each day, and I just live life like that. Really, for us, I say, Holy Spirit, lead and guide me, and I mean, He's never let me down. So even in my downtime when I felt down and I was bad, He only took me down in order for me to see who was around me for me to come back up, pretty much.
Mm.
Like I say, yeah. So that, and then like I say, what I say physically, I mean, I go to the gym. So I go to the gym like 5 days a week because it's like you got to go in there. That got to be your coffee. You got to be like a little animal. You got to get everything out. So when you actually dealing in these different realms, you can know how to deal with like certain people pretty much. So like meditation, praying, and just working out. That's what I would say pretty much.
That's great. And then what about diet? How important is diet in your life? How
Oh, I
does that
mean,
contribute to your thinking too, like the things you eat?
Man, yesterday I think I had 10 hamburgers, a beer. It's like, nah, I'm messing with you. Nah, nah, nah. No, like I said, spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially. No, so like, so even with that, so even with my diet, like I say, I only eat seafood and veggies. I only eat seafood and veggies. I watch the carbs. So my whole thing was, being like African American or black, whatever, whatever, in our community, we always have like high blood pressure, sugar diabetes, and all that type of stuff. So I always told myself, well, who do I think I am? I'm going to go make all this money and do this and do that. But if I continue to eat the same thing that my ancestors ate, I'm gonna get the same elements. So I just kind of like, I mean, it's all about like a mindset. It's all about like challenging yourself. I just said, hey, I'm just going to just eat just seafood and veggies and watch my carbs and see how that works. And then from a physical perspective, when I was a kid, I think I was maybe like 250. I was like 250, big fat face, big stomach, and all that type of stuff. And now I'm probably like 168, a little bit of body fat. So it's like, yeah, you got to watch what you eat because they say you are what you eat. So it's like, try to eat organic foods, do like a lot of fruits and vegetables, and then, don't eat past like try not to eat past like 9 o'clock because once you go to sleep, you got to let the food digest in you, and then it's pretty much take it from there and then work out. I mean, wake up in the morning and work out on an empty stomach. So therefore, everything I ate the day before can just burn through and just be like natural energy. So that's why I say spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially, pretty much. Because like, yeah, you want to take care of yourself because I always told myself I don't want to be 60 and 70 years old with a big pot belly and then, worth like a couple $100 million. But now I got to pay the legalized drug dealer to give me all these pills to help me out with all the ailments that I'm going through. So it's like, now you got to take care of your body. That's your temple, pretty much.
Amen. That's great advice. And I love that you start the morning off with like those elements of your mindset, your meditation, praying to God, getting guidance, asking the right questions. I believe that prayer is when we ask questions to God, and then meditation is when we can just listen. And it's like a combination effect. I think that the asking and the outpouring of what's in us and what God put in us in that communication flow throughout prayer, it's like a speaking and listening too. But I think when it comes to meditation, I'm more focused on just clearing out and letting whatever needs to pass by pass through and observe, and that's more of just an observation and listening process. And prayer is like a creativity process with God, I feel like, but they're both so essential. One of my things for the morning is going outside and getting sun. Like as soon as the sun comes up, I wake up and then I make like a hot tea and then a juice, like a fruit juice,
Mhm.
blueberry, watermelon, pineapple juice or whatever, and go look in the sun and just smile and
Hey,
take a walk. And like that activity, like if I'm traveling or something, and I don't get a chance to go do that, I feel like something is missing. But when I do it, it's always on point. And I feel like that's my moment to listen to God when I'm looking at the sun, even if it's a cloudy day, just looking up at the sky and walking outside and having that communication with the air. That's part of my morning routine, but that's what really gets me feeling like juiced up and like on point and like, all right, let's tap in and let's go.
yo, that's another thing. So even by you saying that, because you know what? You're appreciative. So that's another thing. You got to always say, thank you, Lord. I appreciate this day, not to look at what I don't have, but what I do have. Thank you for the sun just being out there. Like, wow, you
Yeah.
really did that for me. Yeah. So, yep, being appreciative. I've been
Yeah.
thinking
And
about.
that, to your point, being so grateful and looking at what God has created, it allows us to not just focus on our problem because we always got something that we got to do today.
Yeah.
I know you as a parent, me as a business owner, I have employees and things I got to do. And then as a creative person and an entrepreneur, it's 1,000 things that are going to come into my mind. And that's why also too, I make sure I don't get on the phone until I've already taken my morning me time you know. But soon as I kind of allow that faucet to turn on, the thoughts and the ideas just are coming. But by priming my mind first with gratitude and with acknowledging all that God created, hearing the birds, feeling the wind, seeing the sun, and appreciating how the trees and the grass smells in the morning, all of that allows me to realize that my problems are small and
Jesus.
I'm so gifted and favored and blessed, and I'm actually fortunate to be able to solve these challenges. It literally shifts the way I think about what I get to do today instead of
Yeah.
what I have to do today. It's what I get to do today. And man, I'm so fortunate to have healthy legs, healthy body, and be able to experience this nature and my eyes, my ears working. And it's like just that exchange with the natural and with what I call God's art, it actually helps me create more business success and create more, I think, inspiration through my actions and through my words throughout the day. So major keys, that morning routine.
Yeah, yeah. It pushes you to your purpose. So I mean, everybody is put here with a purpose, is put here for a purpose, yeah, and then everybody's put here with a gift. So it allows you to actually just tap into what your purpose is that the Lord gave us, and then it's like you just go through your day just floating pretty much.
That's right. Well, yeah, man, I want to get ready to wrap it up, but I want to know, is there anything else that you want to share with the people? This has been a really, really robust conversation. I hope everybody's taking notes, and make sure that you're picking up everything we're putting down because it's been a lot of value that you shared, Dana. But as we get ready to wrap it up, anything else that you want to share with the people that you want people to know, and of course, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, I would just say pretty much you guys can just follow me or shoot me a DM on IG is at Dana Jones the Mogul. Once again, Dana Jones the Mogul, and just shoot me a DM and just if you have any questions about a mortgage, about real estate and investing. We actually get into like business acquisition as well too, because I'm a part of one of those masterminds. That's another thing we didn't talk about though. Getting into masterminds, that's another way to fast forward you there. But just like I said, just yeah, give me a
That's the
shout out
gym right there. Get in the mastermind.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get
Well,
around
y'all
some
getting a
successful
mastermind.
people. That's a bar. That's how
Yeah,
we met, just being around other successful people who are doing great things. And to your point, man, that's such a key. Like no type of greatness is achieved alone. You can be great, but to achieve massive greatness, you gotta have a team, partners, mentors, friends, and family all looking out.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And then, like I said, what I do to help, follow me on IG at Dana Jones the Mogul. Shoot me a DM and say, hey, Dana, I have a question about investing in here. I have a question about a mortgage. Whatever question you have, I mean, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be a giver so I can actually help you. By me helping you and bettering you, then you actually going to pay it forward and just help another person out. And that's how we can actually make the world a better place. So just, yeah, shoot me a follow and also shoot me some DMs. That's what I'm here for, to actually push and encourage people.
that's perfect. That's perfect. You heard it there. Follow up, man. Anytime somebody successful offers you an opportunity to ask a question and connect, make sure you take advantage of it. Find a question that you got and connect with that person and see if you can add value to their life and keep the cycle of abundance flowing. That's how you uplift the world right there. All right, Dana, I'm been really, really enthused and just energized by this conversation, man. And just grateful too for you taking the time to connect and chop it up and share these gems with the people. And I want everybody to make sure you following Dana Jones, the mogul. Make sure you check out ePlanet Mortgage. Reach out to them, give them a call, and get your questions answered. Get pre-approved. If you're looking to get more property, you're already an investor. Reach out to Dana and the folks at ePlanet. See if they can get you approved for your next investment property and just keep leveling up, keep doing better, keep the inspiration, uplift, and success flowing abundantly. I want to thank you all for tuning in with us today, for tapping in with us. Dana, thank you again for your time and lending us your genius and your wisdom. Everybody, this has been Abundance Universe, and we will see you next time. Peace and blessings abundantly.